All right, time to take a look at the USB-C hub with SSD enclosure. So we can see on the side, we've got our power delivery port, so we can actually plug our power supply into that to deliver power to the laptop and to the ports. We got our HDMI ports. We have our SD card, our micro SD card, two USB-A ports, a USB-C port, and then on the side, we got another USB-A port, and we got a USB-C port that goes to the host, so this is going to plug directly into the computer. But the cool trick that this one has, so it's just a magnetic plate, and then inside there, we've got an M.2 enclosure. So we can actually put a hard drive in here, so every time we plug our laptop in, we're going to have extra storage. And this is actually very nice. They actually got a spot for the cable. This is something I've always wanted, but nobody ever actually does. So this little slot makes this completely portable. That's really cool. We've also got a storage case and a nice thick thermal pad for that M.2. So this does come with two screws, and these are actually thumb screws. So you got little ridges so we can actually grip those things with our fingers. We want to make sure that we remove both of them because if we leave one of them installed, it could press into the bottom of the M.2. We don't want that. So all we're going to do, stick this guy in, and that screw has a little notch in it, so we're going to stick that over the M.2 just like that. Then we can press it in and screw it down. I'm going to lay the thermal pad on top, peel off both sides, so that way we're going to have as much thermal conduction as we can, and we are ready to go. So now I'm going to plug my power supply into the power delivery port. I'm going to plug this cable into the host port, and we'll plug that into the laptop. So that's what's really cool about this, is that I'm only going to have one cable plugged into the laptop that's going to give me all of these ports and that M.2. Okay, and it did pick that up right away. And we are completely empty, so that is pretty awesome. Now let's go ahead and do a crystal disk mark check. Okay, so we got some pretty excellent speeds. This is actually doing very well on that particular M.2 drive. So we got over a gigabyte on sequential 1 megabyte, 8 process, 1 thread, 964 on the right. For the sequential 1 megabyte, 1 process, 1 thread, we got 769 and 845 on the right. So it actually wrote faster. Wrote faster on the random 4K 32 process, 1 thread at 217 and 227. And it actually wrote quite a bit faster on the worst case scenario at 23 and 68 for the random 4K 1 process, 1 thread. So that is actually very good. So now let's take a look at the micro SD slot. Did pick that up right away. And there we go. We are reading the footage right off the card. So it's actually fast enough to read that video while still on the card. It's about 10 gigabytes. It's reading at about 82 megabytes per second off of micro SD card. And let's check our SD card. Again, picked that up right away. So it's writing that at about 75 megabytes per second. So not too surprising with the SD cards. Now I'm going to plug in a thumb drive. So it's bouncing around. I think it's maxing out at about 65. That's really going to depend on the thumb drive that you're using. The thing I really want to know is if we go to that M.2, that's a little more like it. So for transferring video files, we're getting about 600 megabytes per second right. Again, that is going to depend on the actual M.2 that you got in there. But we can see it's already almost done with 10 gigabytes. So yeah, that is a pretty awesome little dock.